Yeah, Homer led the league in tackles with 85. The deep ball for Darius Prince, and Philadelphia's on the board first.
On the draw, this is Bryson Allen. And Allen weaving his way all the way down to the 22.
10-yard line, 5. Mayfield, dancing all around. Throw it as far as he can throw it. Jump ball coming. Crazy stuff. Not this time.
And you want to be a wide receiver. You're going to have to take a little bit of a hit like that as Brown got him in that shoulder, but watch. Those are teeth.
Do we have a dentist on staff here?
All right. Thank you to everybody joining us today. We will be joined by a very special guest. His name is Marques Ogden, former NFL player, current public speaker. So definitely a lot to talk about today, although we have to do so in a little bit of an expedited time period due to my fault. Had another show run over, so I apologize to anybody who's tuning in. Mr. Ogden, how are you doing this morning?
Oh, fine, Sam. How you doing, sir?
Doing great. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And something tells me we'll have to do a follow-up interview in the future for this one.
It's always good.
My late arrival. So I
That's
apologize on that. Very busy man, so definitely had to carve out a 20-minute window with you to try and make some things happen. So I really appreciate you coming on here today. So let's go ahead and just get right into it. I mean, you've got a lot that has gone on throughout your career. One thing that really kind of struck me is that you graduated with a very interesting degree from college before going into the NFL. Can you speak on what led you into that path particularly?
Yeah, Sam. So I got into finance because my dad had a finance background. He was a bank manager, or like a stocks and bonds manager of the Federal Home Loans Bank of New York in their DC office. So I got a chance to see that growing up. My dad worked about 2 blocks from the White House in Washington, DC downtown. So growing up in the 80s in that atmosphere, seeing people like my dad do what he did, and then seeing all the type of different things he was doing to help people make money, preserve money. And then he was really great also giving people opportunities to work, minorities, ethnicities, women, men, all different races, all different creeds. My dad was really a trendsetter, because back then there really wasn't much talk of DEI and belonging, or we call it diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And he was really a pioneer in that regard. So yeah, man, I mean, he's great. And like, that's kind of where I got the love of finance, in that degree.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, that kind of caught my eye when I was doing a little bit of research on you, and I was like, a lot of players, honestly, don't even have a degree when they go into the NFL draft because they figure football is their future. So I thought that was not only a smart decision on your part to go ahead and follow out with that degree before you declared for the draft, but also that, it's honestly just a smart degree to have in your back pocket. Something tells me that you made a lot of smart financial decisions over your career that has led you to where you're at today.
Yep, exactly, man. And so it's interesting you talk about making the decision to really focus on something other than football. And even though when my time was up in football, I didn't do a good job of transitioning at all, I still knew that at some point it would be over. But again, that's the hard part, man. When it happens, you're kind of like, whoa, like this just happened. Like, I don't know what to do next. Like, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? How am I going to make money? So even though I was prepared because of my awesome degree from Howard, it was still a culture shock.
I can definitely expect that. I mean, just to back up a little bit, I mean, you were a 6th round pick in the NFL, brought in by the Jaguars. You spent a couple seasons with them. So, I mean, it wasn't as if you were, I mean, obviously you weren't like a top draft pick, but you were a draft pick. You were a wanted player that had a future in the league. So I can definitely see kind of holding on to that. So how was your time in Jacksonville ultimately? And what did it feel like to be selected in the NFL draft after all your hard work in college up to that point?
It was great, man, because I really had no ambition or no real thought I would be an NFL player. I went to Howard. It was my only scholarship offer. My dad went to Howard. He played defensive line for the Bison. He was actually one of their first, I think he was actually their first scholarship class, I think in 1970. So he was really a trendsetter in that regard. So, and my dad only lived about 15 minutes from Howard. So being able to go home when I wanted, see him when I wanted, we were really, really close until he passed away in 2006. So for me, the NFL was not something I thought about. Then when I got to college, worked hard, was a 4-year starter. And what really made it good for me, right, Sam, was going to the Hula Bowl. Got a chance to play against guys like Alonzo Jackson, who was drafted in the second round to the Steelers. I got a chance to play against guys like Brandon Green, who's actually my teammate, drafted with out of Rice University. Got a chance to play against guys like Brett Romberg, who actually came my team in Jacksonville as well. Jordan Black, who was drafted to the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, there were just a lot of great guys there. Cliff Kingsbury was my quarterback, because we all know Cliff Kingsbury is the former head coach of the Cardinals. He's now the OC of the Washington Commanders. So for me, man, being in that atmosphere and being drafted in the National Football League by Jack Del Rio, who I knew in high school because he was the linebacker coach for the Ravens when they won the Super Bowl. And then from there, he went to the D coordinator with the Panthers. And then from there, he got the head coaching job with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So for me, man, being drafted, being picked out of Howard to go to the Jaguars and be an NFL athlete, for me was everything, man, especially since I didn't think that was going to happen when I got to college. And then I worked hard those last couple of years, and then it turned out to be so. It was really, really awesome.
No doubt. I mean, I can't even imagine that, going from thinking that you didn't have a future in football to being an NFL draft pick, and it just a short time there must have been a whirlwind process for you in particular, at least the thought process. But obviously you spent a couple of years with Jacksonville, and you ended up spending some time over in NFL Europe, which I really wanted to ask you about. You were with the Scottish Claymores, if I remember.
That's correct. Correctly. Yep, that is correct.
What was your time like in Europe? I mean, how was it to be in one of the first true developmental leagues for the NFL?
It was great, man. I loved playing in Scotland, lived in downtown Glasgow for about 6 months. Glasgow was great. I mean, people spoke English. Of course, they had their accents. And of course, to them, we had an accent. So that was really cool. I got into soccer over there, which was pretty awesome. I got a chance to watch the Rangers and the Celts. The Celtics and the Rangers were the two big soccer teams, in Glasgow, in Scotland at that time. Got a chance to see William Wallace's actual sword from the 1200s. He was actually I'm almost about 6'6". He was my height in the 1200s. Saw the crown jewels of Scotland. Went to the King's Hall of Scotland. Went to the old Edinburgh side of the country, cobblestone streets. I actually bought an axe. I had it for years. And then, of course, after this traveling and moving all around, it kind of broke down and kind of just, it didn't really last as long as I was hoping. But it was an actual genuine axe that was made in Scotland. I think it was probably like the late 17 or 1800s. And it cost me a pretty penny, but it was really awesome. I brought that back from Scotland. So it was great. I mean, playing against great guys. James Harrison was in the league playing for Dusseldorf. So I got a chance to play against James. Great guy, great competitor. Played against some other phenomenal guys, in that time, which was really, really awesome. So for me, NFL Europe was all about learning the game at a high level. It was about learning the pro style of offenses and things of that nature. And it's also at the same time like switching positions, because I got brought in as a tackle and I played guard my first year. Then I had to go back out to tackle. So they wanted me to go out there and get more reps at tackle, which was fine. And, having my brother to call and lean on was always nice. And so I tell everybody all the time, man, you really learn a lot about yourself when you have to push yourself. And so NFL Europe did that for me, and it helped me become better at my craft, which allowed me to last longer in the NFL and have almost a 6-year career.
Absolutely. And I know I didn't mention it in the preamble because I kind of want this to be about you, but the brother he mentioned is Jonathan Ogden, Hall of Fame NFL tackle. So obviously a lot of NFL ties in this family, since you said your father played for the Vikings, was it?
No. He played for the Bison. My dad played at Howard.
Bison,
so it was a lineage. So you had my dad at Howard, played defensive line, and then I came to Howard in 1998, and then I played offensive line. So my dad is actually in the Howard Athletic Hall of Fame as part of the 1969 track team. I'm in the Howard Athletic Hall of Fame as a result of playing football as a tackle. So we're the only father and son combination that's in the Howard Athletic Hall of Fame.
That is amazing. That's an amazing, like, I honestly probably, I doubt there's many father-son combos like that in many schools' Hall of Fames, for that matter, let alone just
Correct.
at Howard. I mean, that's
Correct.
a pretty unique situation. So obviously we kind of talked about your NFL career. Ultimately, you ended up playing some time in the IFL, the Indoor Football League, which is a league we actually covered quite frequently. That's actually the background we have up right now, one of the IFL teams. So what was your time like indoors, playing realistically a totally different game?
Oh, it was fun, man. I played for the Baltimore Mariners and I played for the Reading Express. And for me, it was just about I wasn't ready to stop playing the game. I still had some aggression. I still had some skill sets. I actually shifted from O-line to D-line. I played a little bit of O-line here or there if need be, but I was really a D lineman playing for both those franchises. And it was just about, the guys and being around, guys I got a chance to bond with. I had some actually really great coaches in those leagues. Chris Simpson was a former NFL athlete, played in the NFL back in the 80s, was my head coach in Baltimore. I had a great O-line coach in Baltimore, Brian Milburn, and D-line coach, had a great O-line, D-line coach, Ken Miller, who is with me in Reading. So it was really nice, man. And so it was just a different way for me to go out there and do something and really just continue to play the game at a high level. And I mean, I knew I wasn't going to the NFL, which was fine. I just enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed the competition. I had my business at the time, so I was making money through that. I was just really getting involved in, doing something that I really enjoyed doing because I love the competitiveness of just trying to be my best.
That's definitely understandable. I mean, I think that's one big player base that the Indoor Football League gets, is the guys that are, just not ready to hang it up yet and want to continue playing. But ultimately, you played a couple years in the Indoor Football League and also the American Arena League as well, correct?
That is correct. So, I mean, I enjoyed that too, man. I mean, all the teams I played for indoor was really awesome. They had a team here in Raleigh, the Triangle Torch. I played that for one season. I was probably 30. So Farrah was born. So I was probably like 36, 37 when I did that. And I just was living here in Raleigh, and they came to me and asked me about being a D lineman and helping them grow the brand, helping them get more exposure. And I was like, yeah, you know what, man, why not? And so I did it. It was fun and I really enjoyed it. And, I still to this day, I'm very competitive. I play basketball in the mornings, every Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. I go to the gym 7 days a week. I'm just all about doing things and being competitive. And it's really, really awesome. So, I tell everybody, hey, look, man, if you're trying to really be great in life and you're not pushing yourself, then you're never going to reach your full potential. So you got to get out of the comfort zone. You got to start pushing yourself even when you don't want to.
I definitely agree. Sometimes it's those 4:30 mornings that you don't want to be a part of that really make the difference in your life and your career. So I'm curious, like, ultimately you make the transition from football to public speaking. Was there any consideration for you to stay next to, football, whether it was coaching or training or something like that, or was it immediately something you knew that you wanted to be a public speaker, you wanted to affect other people's lives in that manner?
That's a great question, Sam. So I actually was coaching for a year, 2014, at Campbell University under Mike Minter, former 10-year, football player in the NFL, played for the Panthers as a strong safety out of Nebraska. Great guy. And I enjoyed it. But the problem was, Sam, is that it was so much work. I felt like if I did it, I would never be home. I had a young daughter at the time. My daughter was probably less than a year old, and I wasn't getting paid. I was more of it was just like an offensive analyst. It was an offense, defense analyst position, volunteer, unpaid. And then, I just really learned a lot about the game, learned a lot about all the things behind the scenes. And I just didn't want to continue that route. And then I remember it was my birthday, 2021, when Mike reached out to me about becoming the O-line coach for the Campbell University, the full-time, O-line coach. And I turned him down because at that time, my career in speaking had gotten that very successful, very fulfilled, we had broken through a lot of the negativity, a lot of the hardship, getting started, getting people to really know who you are, what you're about. And so I was like, man, I didn't go in all this way. I didn't go this far with speaking, coaching, consulting, authoring, being a podcaster, to now give it up to go back and coach football. And I had been out of the game for so long. From that perspective, I did coach kids football, private lessons on the weekends, during the week days, during the summer. Yeah, I did do that, but I just didn't really want to go back to playing football. Somebody wants me coaching football like that, and then give up what I had been working so hard to build on the other side.
Okay, this was not one of my questions originally when we first started chatting, but I'm curious, would you ever entertain, like arena football coaching?
That's a good question. The problem is there's none here in Raleigh, so I'm not leaving. I live in Fuquay. I'm about half hour from Raleigh, 45 minutes from Fayetteville. I'm not that far from the airport. And the problem with that is, again, it's a big commitment. And again, if there was like a team like somewhere locally that I could go and help out, and maybe like 1-2 days a week and work with the O-line, the D-line, or just, or guys on mindset, stuff like that, sure. Because I speak for NFL teams. One of my big NFL clients, I work with teams-wise, is the Buffalo Bills. I spoke for them for 3 years in a row. Guys like Tre'Davious White, Josh Allen, Deion Dawkins, Tremaine Edmonds. A lot of those guys were like rookies and all that as I was coming up through the line. And Oliver. So I got a chance to really speak to those guys for 3 years in a row. I'm in talks right now with some big NFL teams, but coming to speak for their rookies and players this season. Our brand's starting to really get a lot of traction on a larger scale. So if there was a team that was local, right, or maybe like Fayetteville, somewhere that wasn't that far away, and they had an indoor team, and I could just come and volunteer, maybe just get paid a little bit and come like 1-2 days a week, I might do that. But other than that, man, like going full time with my schedule, there's just no way.
Gotcha. Well, we'll have to chat sometime about a team that's similar or somewhere in your area, but that's a subject for another day. Real quick before I let you get out of here, what is your brand name and where can we find you?
Yeah, it's called Ogden Ventures LLC. We do have the Marques Ogden app, MarquesOgden, the Marques Ogden app. You can download that and get free content. It's a free app. You can download it. You can follow our podcast. We put out free exclusive content there. You can go to our website, www.marquesogden.com. You can go to our 360 link, www.marques360.com, or shoot me an email at marcus@marquesogden.com. But our app was designed by our awesome web producer, George Sod, to be able to create a free, interactive way to get content from us that's inspirational, that's uplifting, that ties into our website, ties into our podcast, which is called Get Authentic with Marques Ogden. You can really connect with us in all types of ways through our app. Again, the Marques Ogden app. You have an Apple or an Android phone, type it in, boom, and you're good.
Definitely. I did not know you have an app, so that's amazing. I mean, you're really all over the board as far as where we can find you and where we can get your content. So I really like that. Marques, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Again, I apologize for showing up late, and we will definitely get you back on in the future if you're willing. Do a little bit more justice to your career. I know I kind of breezed over your time in the NFL and a lot of this stuff, but you're a very interesting person. You got a lot to talk about, so we'll definitely get you back on in the future.
Love it, man. Appreciate it, dog. Thanks a lot for having me on, Sam.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great rest of your day. And again, thank you for everything.
Always, man.
Of course.
I'm a game changer.